Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Gran Turismo 7 to take a look at the first of 7 new cars added as part of the huge update 1.40, which consists of 3 cars in the legendary dealership and 4 in Brand Central, with a combined value of over 4.3 million. Today we're going to start by taking a look at the Nissan Skyline Nismo 400R, but before we do that, let's take a quick look at some of the new things that are here in the Gran Turismo 7. Let's go through the patch notes quickly to see everything that's been changed in this latest update 1.40, including the opening movie, which has been updated. Of course, all 7 new cars listed here. All of the versions of the Lake Louise ice track that have been added, as well as meeting place and paddock being added to world circuits. Prizes for quick and custom race have been increased. Lots of things like that. And some more events have been added to world circuits. So these are like additional events at existing tracks. They've also added a new master licenses section, which is unlocked after completing the normal license, which I have already done. So I may put in some screenshots of what some of these new elements and things look like as we're scrolling through here. Brand Central, museum piece, cafe books, number 48 and number 49, as well as 31 and 32 and 33 in the extra menus. Let's ignore that number though. And yeah, there's a whole load of other things as well. Of course, snow tyres for our new snow track, so hopefully we'll play about with those later in today's video. Race photos, replay, GT menu, multiplayer. As you can see, it's quite a big update, which is probably why they've called it Gran Turismo 7 Spec II, because it changes so many things. Today though, focusing on the Nismo 400R, which as you might expect is over in the legendary cars dealership, being an absolute classic. It actually costs 1.8 million credits, which I think makes it the most expensive car in this update. Well worth it though. It is my favourite of the cars going into this, so we'll see how it drives in a minute. But yeah, really wish this was in more games. Anyway, it's in a lovely yellow colour, so goodbye 1.8 million. With the help of the internet and Gran Turismo 7's rather useful little fact files they have on every car, I can tell you that the 400R is a super limited run, even faster and madder version of the R33 Skyline GTR. For this car, Nissan bored out the engine to 2.8 litres, putting power output up to nearly 400 horsepower, hence the name 400R, I guess. Apparently this power figure could have easily been tuned higher, but Nissan, or rather their performance branch Nismo, thought that 394 horsepower was quite enough for the road, which they're probably right about, to be honest. Don't forget that this would have seemed like an even more insane output back when this car came out in 1995 or 1996. Different sources seem to contradict each other on that. But that's not all. Nismo also made several weight-saving and handling modifications to this car, including a carbon fibre prop shaft, which back in the mid-90s was a material only really used in racing and probably things like space exploration. So quite impressive to see on a road car that far back. And there were some improvements to the car's suspension system as well. Not to forget the addition of that stripe down the side, which is probably the most performance-enhancing upgrade they did to this car. All of that, paired with the usual Skyline four-wheel drive system, means despite some lighter components, it's still not the lightest car, but weight has been brought down to nearly 1,500 kilos, so it isn't too heavy either. This gives the 400R an overall rating of 543.78 performance points here in Gran Turismo 7. In terms of customization and upgrades, well, first customization, rather unsurprisingly being Gran Turismo, where wide bodies are available for absolutely everything, you can wide body the 400R, which in theory seems like not necessarily the worst car to do it to, given it already has those sort of wider arches on it, but I think it is a bit too much. They sort of lean out from the bodywork at too much of an angle, the extended ones, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, despite it being one of the cars that maybe lends itself to this, I'm not actually going to do that. And I've not just avoided the wide body because it's 50,000 credits and I only have 90. But anyway, it also has some custom parts. Couple of front bumpers, which I'm not quite sure if I want to do or not. I think I'll probably leave that alone. There's a couple of side skirt options, a carbon one and another one. Couple of diffusers, which I'm not entirely against. I might put that under it. That's kind of tempting. I might just do it, just so I've done something. And rather interestingly, some wing options. Obviously, it's got the wingless, which looks a bit weird on this, because the boot lid's actually lower than the sides of the car. But it's got Type A and Type B, both of which I quite like, because they kind of make use of the same standard, well, lower bit of wing, but just change the middly section. One of them just makes it a little bit bigger, and one, well, extends it and puts end plates on it, which I think I'm actually going to do. It does, of course, also have racing items like bonnets, pins, a tow hook, which involves cutting a hole in the front bumper, so let's not do that, and some roll cage in case your car falls over. What about lights? Normal selection, super cool. There is kind of a gap for a front number plate, so I guess we leave that alone. Front grille. Okay, interesting. You can swap the 400R for a GTR. Oh, you can remove the funny little thing. Bit of aero there. Or you can debadge it. I kind of want a 400R badge. And calipers I haven't upgraded. So at this point, I would love to go and paint it in a different Nissan manufacturer colour, despite the yellow being absolutely brilliant. But unfortunately, being Gran Turismo, that then removes the stripe from the side, and it paints the entire wing, including the carbony bits. So it kind of ruins it. I mean, I could spend some time going and making a 400R stripe and redoing the livery, but I'm not sure that's really what I want to be spending my time doing. Which is a shame, because Passion Red looks pretty good, as does Zombie Red. Grand Prix Orange is a bit much, but these shiny and energetic oranges are always quite interesting colours. And of course, I would love to be able to put Midnight Purple on it, or even Bayside Blue or Millennium Jade would be kind of cool. These kind of the three classic Skyline colours. So, returning it back to yellow, we're over in Understeer Engineering, where I'm starting in the, well, quite recently added Ultimate tab, where as you can see, you can put an ultra-high RPM turbocharger on, which puts power up to 610 horsepower. Now, I'm not going to do that, I just wanted to show that that is an option to immediately double the power, nearly. Also, carbon prop shaft is an option, which is interesting, because according to the facts on this car, it already has one, but that must be an even lighter one. So yeah, I'm not going to do any of that. What I am going to do, because usually I'd spend a while upgrading things and trying to make it to a number, and then I find that in Gran Turismo that's not actually terribly helpful, because by the time I've upgraded it, it's then not eligible for anything. So what I'm going to do with this is put some snow tyres on, and go to the new ice circuit in Canada. So yes, going in with only, well, those tyres and the visual upgrades and not doing anything else. Let's see how this does. Let's go quick race. And yeah, there are many layouts of this. There's some big ovals. I think we should do long track, which I'm guessing is like the most full layout we have. And the normal way round. I'm also going to do this at midnight because that looks incredible. And let's go straight for the professional layout. Professional layout, professional difficulty. That is a very red moose. Right, yes, I've never driven on snow in this game. Well, of course I haven't. This is the first time it's been possible. So what can possibly go wrong? It's very bumpy from interior view. There's a Mustang in the way. Not sure muscle cars are the best idea for this. Now, in Gran Turismos of old, I used to be quite good at snow driving, I can remember in license tests in one of the old games, there was a snow one where I instantly got gold, where every other one I'd been really struggling. Although this being Gran Turismo 7, the AI, the normal AI, not the Sophie ones, are notoriously easy to beat, so I think we should be okay to win this. I'm being beaten by a normal R32, well, a Nismo R32, to be fair, but I was just thinking, I don't think I've driven in the snow properly on any game since Horizon 4's winter seasons. I suppose there's a bit at the top of the volcano on Horizon 5, but this is brilliant fun. And just like that, we're gonna win! What a view under the wing. Oh, that looks so good. Look at the 400R go. I mean, that was quite crashy for a race in a 1.8 million credit car. So, at this point, with ice driving out of the way, I equipped the car with some slicks, some sports suspension, some improved brakes, mostly so that I can paint them blue. I went for the carbon ceramics, in the hope that I could then go into one of these paddock things again. Unfortunately though, as you may have gathered from the fact I'm in a race, that again didn't work. I had to quit my game and restart, so I really hope they fix those, because I kind of want to see how they work. But anyway, we're here for a more traditional, not quite so slippery race around Tokyo Expressway, which I feel like is the perfect place to test this car. Already up to 6th, so let's try and win, I suppose. I've not seen an AI crash like that for a while. Anyway, that puts us up into the lead. I did also notice quite an interesting thing. Well, I went to the car valuation service thing in the used car dealer, and it turns out this is my second most valuable vehicle after the Valkyrie, I think, is at the top. So, yeah. Impressively valuable. That. Never mind, there goes a Miura. There goes a GTR. It turns out it's not very fast in a straight line. To be fair, I did add downforce. And just like that, we rather unsurprisingly won by quite a long way, despite the lack of top-end speed in this thing. I am absolutely loving driving this car though. Sounds really good as well, particularly with that turbo flutter. That, though, probably is going to do it for today's video, taking a very first look at the Nissan Nismo 400R Skyline R33, many things, quite a long name, as well as Update 1.40 or Gran Turismo 7 Spec II, which is absolutely huge update with lots of new cars, the ice track, so many updated things graphically and new activities to do. It's just had a bit of an overhaul really, which it did kind of need at this point with this game being around for a little while. But yeah, so far this has been brilliant. The 400R has been, well, as great as I thought it might be. Really enjoyable, but yeah, it is super expensive, which is kind of to be expected, I suppose. But yeah, it's really cool to see this quite unusual spec of the R33 GTR in Gran Turismo, which is one of the few games that's ever really had it, I suppose. It would be great to see it come to, like, Forza or something, but I suppose it's more at home in a Japanese game. Anyway, has some cool modification options, including that slightly upgraded wing that I put on. Slightly unfortunate that if you repaint it, you lose its stripe. There's also a load you can do with upgrades, including putting a ridiculous turbocharger on it that puts it to 600 horsepower, which I didn't want to try because I didn't want to ruin it and have a big crash. But yeah, super fun thing. It was brilliant at the ice race. Super fun on that new track. Must have a go round there in some more vehicles, potentially in the Tesla from this update. Might be quite a fun challenge. And then great fun to race it round here afterwards. It's a shame the new paddock feature thing didn't work, because that may have potentially been a fun new thing to try out. Crunch. But anyway, yeah, for today's video, taking a very first look at this update and the Nismo 400R, that is going to be all. I'll be back very soon to take a look at another of the cars from this update. The one I'm next most excited for, it may be no surprise to you, is the Porsche. So video on that coming soon. For now though, that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next one very soon.